Well, hey everyone, this is Kim at the Abled Gardener, and I was going to check my bees earlier today, but they were extremely active. Now the sun's going down a little bit. I know that a lot of them have returned to the hive, but I think it's going to be a good time to check them this afternoon. For one thing, it's between 65 and 70 degrees, so I didn't really want to check them when it was too cold because you know, in the wintertime when they get cold, they cluster inside, and they're trying to keep that warmth in their bee cluster inside, and you don't want to take the top off and let that warmth that they've accumulated, you don't want that warmth to get out of the hive. So without further ado, let me crack the top of the hive and see what is going on. Now what I'm checking for today is I want to see what's going on in these top frames to see if they're how much honey they have, how much brood the queen has laid, and if she's laying brood. A good queen is going to be laying brood for the springtime. So that's a really great sign right there. My queen is not only laying brood, but you don't really have to scoop the bees aside to see that she's laying it pretty solid. Let's look at the other side real quick. There we go, another nice pretty solid pattern on the other side. So she's really getting busy here for the springtime, and this particular frame is full of honey. It's really heavy. So there we've got capped honey on this side completely, and almost completely on this side. So they've got more than enough food to get by for a while. And the next one is capped on that side also. I'm not going to even take it out because I can see right now it's completely capped honey. I'm going to take this last one out real quick. Maybe I want to turn it around. But so here we have honey stores on that side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this around because on this side they're just still working on the honey. We've got capped brood. We have a lot of honey stores left for the rest of winter. Some capped honey, but it looks like they're mostly working on laying brood, or she's working on laying brood on that one. And capped honey, honey, and let's see what's going on here. Yeah, this last one is all capped honey also. So this whole top hive is almost all capped honey, with exception for a couple of frames in the middle. One is completely capped brood, and the other one it looks like she's working on. So I'll get this down in here. She can continue laying brood, and I'm going to get on to my next hive. Now, I've mentioned before that I've got a 10 frame hive, but only using 9 frames, and that just gives a little bit more room for them to get around, and also a little bit more room for them to, well, for the queen to come up and lay brood, and for them to work around making their honey stores. I'm just going to clean off the top of this one frame. This is just the wax that the bees produce. It's called propolis. They produce this, and they seal off. They either seal off the hive from the top. They either seal the hive around the edges, or they make everything sticky so that nothing else can get in and harm their hive. Well, this hive is not as busy as the hive next door. Not at all. I don't even have to smoke these guys. So let's see what they're doing inside and see what the frames look like. I'll come get the camera and bring it over. I don't know if you could hear the bees in the other hive buzzing and just going crazy. You could probably see them a little bit, but this hive is very, very mellow. And since the entrance is on this side, I'm going to step around to the side, and I'm not going to check them from the entrance because that's just asking for trouble, because you're right in the way of their path of getting back to the hive. And once again, I'm gonna start checking from the middle frame and sitting out here for a couple of months. These guys are really stuck in here good. Okay, so just as in the other one, in the middle frame, I've got the queen laying brood. It's a little bit more spotty, a little bit spottier than the other pattern in the other hive. It's a little spottier, but she's working on it, and I believe it was last fall, sometime before we harvested the honey, this queen had laid just a solid brood, a really good layer. And here is the other side, same way. She's working on it, a little bit more solid pattern. Let me get that back in there. She may be on that frame. Check this outside frame and see what their honey stores are. Oh, this is really super heavy, super heavy. And there we are, whole frame of capped honey, and if you can see this frame, it's bulging out with honey. It's not directly level with the rest of the frame. It's bulging out almost twice the height of the frame. If you can see this, you probably can see the sun shining on this. Looks like a little mountain range here. It's extremely heavy. Oh, well, for me anyway. And on this side, pretty much the same thing. It's bulging out with honey. Okay, second one to the end. Capped honey, and it looks like they're working on other honey stores. The other side, capped honey, but for some reason they stopped down here at the bottom. But this is all a two-story capped honey, that's what I'll call it. And another one with brood, not solid, but she's working on it. So there are the honeybees. There are the honeybees for this spring. These frames are stuck together with some foundation that the bees are building out. I'll just get that foundation or that propolis off of the hive so I can break them apart. And it looks like the last frame, I can see this one pretty much empty, nothing but foundation, and then this last one looks like it's another one that has solid honey on it. What I'll do is I'll bring this honey one out and bring it just one over closer to the inside. Oh my gosh, that's really heavy, really super heavy. Just like the one on the other end. Actually, I need to move my foot because my back's starting to hurt. Super amount of honey here. It's built out from the foundation, just two-story. And on this side, the same thing. I bet there's probably a good gallon of honey in this one frame, at least. Because I can feel when I lift it up, it feels like at least, it feels like about a gallon of honey or more. Maybe a gallon and a half. Well, that's it for me this afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining me and watching me check my hives for an early spring check. Like I said, it was about 65, 67 degrees right around in there today, and so it was a good time to check them to see what was going on. Very happy with what I found, with the amount of brood so far, the amount of honey stores that they have for energy, for food. So that's it. I won't be needing to put on another hive, a medium super on top yet. I will be doing that when I'm seeing that the brood is starting to hatch and they're just starting to get a little antsy and wanting to swarm. Then I will get a couple more hives on each of these. So thanks again, everyone. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.